This is News 3 Sports.
Welcome back to the Sports Extra playoff preview. For the second straight year, the Anna Jonesboro Wildcats ran the table during the regular season. Last year, the Cats made it all the way to the 3A semifinals. This year's Brett Dietering's bunch is in 4A, though, and drew 5-4 Rochester out of the Corn Belt Conference. What the Wildcats lack in quantity of players, they certainly make up for it in quality. AJ is loaded in the skill positions, led by do-it-all quarterback Lucas Heilman. The Wildcats figure to need to put plenty of points on the board tomorrow, with the state's all-time leading passer, Will Lunt and company, coming to town.
Make them drive the ball, throw short routes, tackle them where they catch the football. Don't give them many yards after the catch, and we got to try and get a little bit of pressure on him. You know, he's probably as good as what we've ever seen, and you don't get a state record for most yards in a career by not doing something right.
The Wildcats and Rockets kick it off at 2 o'clock tomorrow in Anna. Mike, this quadrant is loaded. AJ draws a 5-4 Rochester team, but that record's a little deceiving with our conference.
Very much so, Darren. I think this is one of the draws that I know, talking to Brett during the week, he was thinking he's borderline 3-4. And with some of the losses that happened last Friday night, he ends up in Class 4A. And they've had a great season. I've seen them play twice. They've had a great season. But they're going to run into a 5-4 team that their record is very deceiving. And I think tomorrow's game at Anna is going to be one of the best matchups in Southern Illinois. Anna did shut down an explosive attack, and they're probably going to have to do the same thing tomorrow.
Sac County, the Patriots finished 7-2 with a share of the River to River Ohio title. Their reward, a trip to 8-1 Mascoutah, champions of the Mississippi Valley. Outside of that Week 3 loss to AJ, the Patriots have lit up the scoreboard with regularity. Quarterback Zach Hester has an arsenal of weapons at his fingertips, and he isn't afraid to use them. But the key to a Patriots playoff run will be their defense. Massac has made great strides since giving up 55 in a Week 6 loss at Heron.
We've changed some personnel around a little bit, took an offensive lineman or so and put them on defense and tried to shore that up a little bit and put quite a bit of emphasis in the last 2 or 3 weeks in our defense, knowing that you get to this point and get to this time of year, if you get in a situation where you're trying to outscore who you play, that doesn't always work.
The Patriots and Indians kick off tomorrow at 2 o'clock in Mascoutah. Now this is one of those interesting contrasts of style. Massac wants to chuck it around. Mascoutah wants to grind it out.
Well, I saw Massac late in the season, and I was very impressed. Great skill people, a lot of team speed, that they can score from anywhere on the field, very explosive. We played Mascoutah in 2005, very physical football team. They had a hard time defending the pass. So I think what it may come down to is how well does Massac play on defense, because I understand Mascoutah has a very good running back and they like to control the football. So Massac's defense may determine how the outcome of the game comes about.
Points aplenty tomorrow, I would bet. Now the other co-champ in the Ohio is Heron. The Tigers have to hit the road in round 1 as well, making the trek to the Snake Pit to take on unbeaten Mount Carmel for the 2nd straight year. Last year, the Aces put it on the Tigers, winning 47-20, but the Heron players say they learned a lot from that game and are better prepared for this year's rematch.
Well, we ain't going to play like we did last year and sit down and let them run all over us, but we're going to step it up and get this win.
They really kicked our butt last year. I mean, we're motivated pretty good this year to go over there and just send them a message to the state of Illinois.
So the Tigers and the Aces, 2 o'clock tomorrow in Mount Carmel. John, what makes the Pit such a tough place to play?
Oh, it's an unusual place in that when you stand at the top of the stadium, you're above the lights and then straight down. And Mount Carmel people are very enthusiastic. They're going to let you know they're there. And it's a tough place to play. You go in there with a little bit leery, and if you have to climb that hill before the game or climb that hill at halftime, you're better off staying down below.
All right, now let's head to 3A, where we'll start with the unbeaten Carterville Lions. The Black Diamond champs roll out the welcome mat for 5-4 Staunton out of the South Central East. Dennis Struss' squad has plenty of weapons on offense, led by quarterback Tony Brown and a whole stable of backs, but it's the defense that has carried the mail. They say speed kills and Lions opponents can attack. Carterville has given up just 64 points in the season while pitching 3 shutouts and generally making life miserable for opposing offenses.
Speed is what's carried us all year, along with our defense as well. Our defense has really allowed our offense to mature and get better each week. They've played great every game this season thus far, but you know, if we get a dry turf, I think our speed will be the big advantage in the game.
The Lions and Bulldogs teed up tomorrow at 2 in the Jungle. And Mike, we know about their speed, but they showed in Week 9 that they're not going to be pushed around. Frankfort came in and they took care of business there. Is this team primed for a run here?
Well, I definitely think so. I think this is one of those games where not only did Carterville get an outstanding draw, I think they are definitely a much more potent, better defensive team than Staunton. But at the same time, I was one of those people that people are down on the Black Diamond sometimes about the level of competition and everything, but when they stepped out in Week 9 and defeated West Frankfort, who I had seen defeat Heron the previous Friday, I think that made a believer out of a lot of people that the Diamond may be down a little bit, but Carterville is definitely the cream of the crop, and I think they have a game that they definitely will dominate tomorrow, and then they will go into the second round.
Well, Carmi-White County finished second to Carterville in the Black Diamond. The Bulldogs will start the postseason at home as they welcome 6-3 Carlinville, champions of the South Central West. Carmi is one of the hottest teams in the area. They've reeled off 7 straight wins after getting blown out by the Lions in Week 2. The Bulldogs say their opponent tomorrow hasn't played too many passing teams this year, so they think they have the advantage through the air.
They definitely haven't seen a team that passes as much as we do, so that's what we're going to try to do, hopefully.
We're playing really well right now, and we've had a good history at Carmi, playoffs. We're just going to try to keep the tradition going and get past that first round and just continue playing good.
The Cavaliers and Bulldogs kick off at 2 tomorrow in Carmi. And, Mike, the Bulldogs are rolling right now, but Carlinville's pretty hot, too. They've won 6 in a row.
Well, this is one of those games. We talked to Coach Simon tonight at the Marion game, and I've known Coach Borgini at Carlinville for probably over 20 years. He is one of the outstanding coaches in the state of Illinois, and he started out the season, I think, trying to do some things, Darren, that were different offensively. And after 3 weeks, he said, I better go back to the things I really know and do what we're good at. And since Week 3, Carlinville has rolled. But I think when you look at Carmi this year, I think the last 2 years, a lot of people have started to write them off, that the talent level is down a little bit. And I think if you got to give a Coach of the Year award, I think Kurt Simon's done an outstanding job this year to be 8-1 at Carmi. So going to Carmi, I wouldn't bet against the Bulldogs at Carmi.
The West Frankfort Redbirds have had a lot of success in the regular season over the past few years, but that success has not transferred over in the postseason, as Frankfort has not won a playoff game since 1986. The Redbirds will try to change that this year when they travel to Vandalia. The Vandals come in at 7-2, Frankfort 6-3. Redbirds head coach Chad Spence is hoping to use his team's quickness to its advantage.
I think we got maybe a little bit more speed, but they do have real good size, so we need to keep them third and long instead of third and short.
Well, yeah, I mean, the last couple of years we've got knocked out the first round of the playoffs, so this year hopefully we can get a first round victory and then keep on going.
That first round victory would come tomorrow if they can get by Vandalia. Kickoff set for 2 o'clock. Al, Frankfort's really a tough team to get a handle on because they have looked outstanding at times and then not so good at others.
Yeah, when I saw them, I was very impressed. They're big, they're physical. I really like the Yules kid, their tailback. They got a veteran quarterback. I think the biggest thing right now is I don't know how healthy they are. I know they've got some kids beat up, and that could really play a big part in the game. I still like their chances, though. I know it's a long trip, but from what I saw, Frankfort, I think they got a good chance.
Now, the final area team in 3A is the Fairfield Mules. The 6-3 Mules have to hit the road to take on 8-1 Columbia, champions of the Cahokia Conference. Now, the Mules have won 3 of their last 4 games, but tomorrow will be a tough matchup. The Eagles run the spread offense and have a 1,000-yard passer and a 1,000-yard rusher.
But, every year a 5-4 team beats a 9-0 team, or a 6-3 team beats an 8-1. So we're kind of taking the approach this year. Why can't it be us?
I mean, you just got to go out there and play 100% every time, and really give all you have, and make sure you do everything the way you're supposed to do it.
Hopefully, we can show Coach that we're the real deal and go to Columbia and play a good game.
The Mules and Eagles kick off at 1 tomorrow in Columbia. Mike, this is a tough matchup for Fairfield. What do they have to do to pull off the upset tomorrow?
Well, I think number one, since they've been in the Black Diamond Conference, the one thing that has always impressed me is offensively they're explosive and they do a lot of good things. I think defensively is where they're going to have a problem. I think they're really going to have to shore it up. I truly believe that Columbia has probably played a much tougher schedule during the course of the season. Columbia in the past, when I've seen them on film, has been a physical type of football team. And I think Fairfield will put points on the board. It's just how many can they hold Columbia to if they're going to have a chance to win that football game.
All right, well, we still have more ground to cover. Mount Vernon, we haven't forgotten about you. Coming up, we'll look at the Rams matchup with Cahokia. Plus, Ashley Hoyer will show us how the school's all-time leading rusher, Joe Rush, has succeeded despite the tough hand he's been dealt. We'll be right back.